Roger Stone here. Every day you wait, your money loses value, but gold and silver don't follow those same rules. American Sovereign Bullion gives you access to a nationwide wholesaler network, helping you secure aggressive pricing on real physical metals. Call 844-272-2428 now to get your free gold and silver guide to learn how to protect your wealth with physical gold and silver, delivered right to your door or with a gold IRA. Visit asbgold.com. That's asbgold.com for your free gold and silver guide today.
Some things are impossible to miss, like an elephant in the room, or a bull in a china shop, or this season's amazing offers, brought to you by PayPal. Discover offers from hundreds of brands like Viator, Allbirds, and Tory Burch right in the PayPal app. Save an offer before you check out with PayPal and earn unlimited rewards. Download the PayPal app to get started. Terms and exclusions apply. See paypal.com/rewards terms.
KT McFarland, Fox News, Sid and Friends in the morning every week. A fan favorite. They love her. I love her. KT, happy Friday. How are you?
I'm just great. I really love listening to you and the guys just yuck it up in the morning. No wonder everybody loves you.
Thank you. Thank you. That means a lot coming from you. Even that word you used, yuck, that was a staple for Imus. That was a staple. You know what's funny, KT, you like this, is, Imus died and I pretty much lost touch with the Imus family, and you know that I talk about Don all the time.
Yeah.
And even though his friends go back to Deirdre and say Sid says terrible things, it's not true. I've given Imus a tremendous amount of credit. I even admit that a lot of his shtick influenced me. In a lot of mornings, people say, man, you remind me of Imus. So I do miss him. And just recently, Deirdre Imus reached out to me. So did Wyatt. Wyatt was on this show about 2 weeks ago, and he texted me yesterday, and he wants to come back for the Preakness Stakes next week. So there is a relationship once again between the Rosenbergs and the Imus. How about that?
Well, that's really impressive because that's a friendship that has gone on despite, potentially competing with each other. And then I think, you've taken over the mantle and the throne of Don Imus. So good for you and good for Deirdre and good for Wyatt.
Yeah, thank you. They're doing great, and they loved you too, of course, on that radio show. It's such an important radio show, and I believe that this one, like you said now, kind of carries that baton. And, we talk about everything from frivolous stuff like the Mets and music to important stuff like you and I are about to discuss, which is Iran. I know you were on hold during the Brian Kilmeade conversation. I'll say it again. I love Trump. I was all for the move in Iran. You and I have talked about this already. I thought it was a courageous and great move. I do think we're winning. I don't think we've won. I'm not even sure what winning means. To me, it's got to include regime change, which I don't think is going to happen. So I'm not sure exactly how the president can tell us, whether it's 2 weeks or 4 weeks or 6 weeks, that we've won. But above and beyond that, every day that goes by that we're still involved in this, okay, is a bad day for Republicans. Because, yes, when we win, if we win, it'll be great. But until we do, and we can really proclaim victory, which he can explain to the American people, because the messaging has not been great. I've got Trump supporters, people who love Trump. They have no idea what this win means in Iran. There's like 5 different things they want to see happen. So my point is, this needs to happen sooner than later, or will bite us come November.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right. And I'm hoping that one of the things that comes out of the U.S.-China meeting next week when President Trump meets with the Chinese President Xi Jinping is that they talk about Iran. Because what happened is last week, the Chinese foreign minister met with the Iranian foreign minister in Beijing. And I bet he read him the Riot Act because China, they support Iran. They haven't really done much for Iran. Maybe they're helping them a little bit with this war. But at the end of the day, China doesn't care about Iran's nuclear weapons program. China cares about China. China cares about oil. And Iran, because of the war and because of the blockade and because of the Strait of Hormuz, Iran is really shutting down China's oil flow. So China doesn't just get oil from Iran. It gets it from the Saudis, from the United Arab Emirates, from Iraq. And all that oil together adds up to about 50% of China's imported oil, which is probably 10-15% of China's entire energy needs. So if you got a country that's getting 10-15% less than it needs for its energy, that has a massive impact upon their petrochemical industry, their industrial manufacturing industry, on their intelligence and tech industry, so everything. So I think the Chinese want this war over more than anybody does.
You just made such a great point, and I'll have Gordon Shang on next week to talk about this. I can confirm that's true, only because of what I read and hear, that the Chinese, believe it or not, have been putting pressure on Iran to end this war because, selfishly, they're getting hurt with the oil, with goods. So, yes, as Trump gets set to go there, it's not going to be one of these situations where they're going to be backing Iran. I'm hearing they're already communicating with Iran to fix this because they're getting screwed. And like you said, all they care about is themselves.
Yeah, and I think that what will happen next week is that President Trump and President Xi will say, okay, now the adults are in the room. How do we stop this war? And Trump will say, no nukes, and he'll lay out his conditions for Iran in an agreement. And then I think the Chinese president will say, okay, but here's what we want from you guys. Look, the United States and China have much more important stuff. As important as the Iran war is, and as important as the price of oil and price of gasoline and the political impact in the United States, as much as that's so important, China and the United States have more important things to deal with on a bilateral basis.
True. But
we've got a much bigger agenda, and China's the real problem, not Iran. And the war, is it over in Iran or not? They're just speedboats that are like the kind of boats that pull water skiers. And we think, or some of Trump's critics think, oh, well, they're going to defeat the United States Armada? Come on, guys.
Well, it's not a matter of defeating. It's, look, it's gas prices are still too high.
Yeah, way too high.
And there's no real regime change yet. We've killed a lot of people, but there's a lot of questions. They're fair questions. I'm trying to get Trump on. I've been calling Caroline Levitt. She just had a baby, so she's out. Now
she's a bit preoccupied.
Yeah, she's a little preoccupied with little Vivi, so I called Margot Martin, but I want to get him on because I love him. I adore him, but I'm going to ask him those questions. I mean, there's a lot of questions that even his own supporters have. What does victory really look like? It's not one thing. It's like five. And you know this. Right now, the country that's scared to death, it's not us. Because guess what? As angry as Iran is, they're not coming to Staten Island. They're not coming to Cincinnati. They're not coming to Los Angeles. It's Israel. Right now, Israel is, I'm telling you, terrified because part of this new proposal, which we've given to Iran, includes some loosening of the sanctions. Well, guess what? Last time that happened, that was Obama and Kerry. I'm sorry to say this. I love Trump. It's going to bother you, KT, but this deal, which I've seen, looks a lot like Obama-Kerry 2.0, and it's going to loosen up money. And in 5 years, or 10 years, Iran can once again start funding the Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas. We'll be right back in that same place all over again. So while America and Iran are talking about the possibility of peace, guess who's getting screwed along the way? Israel.
That's why whatever agreement is reached, it's not worth the paper it's printed on unless we have two things. One is snap inspections. In other words, we or our designated colleagues can go anywhere, anytime, any place in Iran, no advance notice, just knock on the door and say, let me see what's inside that door. And that's never happened before. That's what, even with President Obama's deal, which the Democrats thought was so great, there was never snap inspections. It was Iran would give you the ability to inspect. You'd have to make an appointment. You'd have to give them enough lead time. They wouldn't let you open up every door. So in other words, they were going to do what they were always going to do. They were going to cheat. So we need the ability to have snap inspections. And then secondly, we need the ability to enforce. There was never any enforcement mechanism with any of these previous agreements. And here's what an enforcement mechanism looks like. We keep a significant percentage of the Armada in the region. And so the minute Iran violates it or delays or says you can't look behind this door, fine. We assume they're in violation and we destroy that building. That you immediately take it out. Now, does the United States have to have the Armada and 3 carrier task force groups in the entire region forever? No. We will rely on our regional friends, the Saudis, UAE, particularly Israel, and others to help us enforce this. And we already control the strait. We already opened the strait. We just have to keep it open. And we need to, whatever deal is done, has to be with those two conditions, snap inspections and the ability to enforce. And by enforce, I mean not just a sanction here or there. I mean obliterate the building.
Agreed. You know, KT, this redistricting battle seems to be working out actually for us. Republicans are gaining seats, it looks like, all over the place. Much of the chagrin of the Democrats. They embarrassed themselves again yesterday in Tennessee. Not sure if you saw that rowdy scene, but it was out of control. But it does seem like, at least, because Virginia was such a mess and was so one-sided for the Democrats, it does seem like, after what Ron DeSantis did down in Florida, that it may end up working out for us. What are your thoughts on what's become basically a nationwide redistricting battle to gain votes?
Well, it's interesting you say it because our daughter, Lieutenant Commander Reserves Fiona McFarland, is a Sarasota representative to the state government in Tallahassee. So she drove up last week from Sarasota to Tallahassee, drove her 5 hours, put her vote in, voted for the redistricting in Florida. And it was a no-brainer in Florida. But again, the Democrats thought they were going to be so tricky. They're going to challenge all of this. But it's turning out that if state after state after state, if it's got a 30% Republican population and it has no Republican legislators, it tells you that the redistricting was already in place in the other guy's favor. So I think it's about time we clean it up and open it up.
Are you following this California stuff as closely as I am? I had Samantha Edis on 2 days ago, Elizabeth Barcahona on today. I had a lot of the conversation with Brian Kilmeade talking about it. I want Spencer Pratt to be the next mayor of Los Angeles. I want Steve Hilton to be the next governor of California. Yeah. I look at California, and that's us on the way. And the truth is, if we're going to be honest, as bad as New York is, and it's really bad and trending worse, we have not hit the California stage just yet. But we are certainly in the rearview mirror. We are catching up, and with a creep like Mamdani in power, we can get to the California stage very, very quickly. But they're there right now. That state, that city, LA, needs a lot of help. So I'm keeping my eye on it because that's a big percentage of our country. What are your thoughts?
You know, the problem with all these big cities, the Democrat-controlled cities, the sanctuary cities, whatever you want to call them, they're all in a death spiral. They're forcing out the people who pay the taxes. It attracts people who want to, take advantage of the benefits. The law enforcement issues, well, they're not even, cut the cops. No, there are no police in any of them. And then the people who are stuck, who can't move, are not the super rich. It's the middle class. And so in every one of these sanctuary cities, they're in a death spiral, which they're going to have a hard time clawing their way back out of. I mean, the billionaires who are leaving New York, the industries that they are taking to Florida, to Miami, it's costing, thousands of jobs. And the multiplier effect is tens of thousands of jobs. California's already done that. And what do you have? It's not just that there's nobody left who's rich who's paying taxes. It's that the grift and the graft and the incompetence. That's why I think Spencer Pratt's commercial of of Gavin Newsom with blood and food dripping down his head and the crazy mayor. I've watched that about 20 times now. I just think it's the best commercial I've ever seen.
It is. I agree. And that's why I like this guy, Spencer Pratt, because he's a little out of the box. He's not a politician. He's a reality star. Oh, does that sound familiar?
He's a smart guy.
Yes.
I mean, as you and Brian were saying, he's really done his homework and he knows his issues and he's a straight talker. I think, if anybody's paying attention in Los Angeles, maybe they're looking at that and saying, well, I don't know much about politics, but I like the commercial, and the guy makes a lot of sense. So who knows? Miracles can happen.
Could be that easy. You're right. And he's winning right now. He's beating Cameron Bass in the latest poll, so it's not going to take a miracle. It's just going to take turnout. A lot of folks need to go out there and vote, and if we get Spencer Pratt, we get Hilton, one of the two or both of those, then California could be saved. So you mentioned your beautiful daughter down there in Florida doing all that great work in Sarasota. What does KT McFarland do Sunday, the great lady that you are, to celebrate Mother's Day?
I make reservations, and then everybody takes me out to lunch.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, and so don't tell anybody where you're going because there are crazy people out there, but you got a lot of folks stopping by?
I'm going out. They're taking me out to lunch. I'm not. No, I mean, I have my 5 children and 11 and a half grandchildren. Sadly, I'll only have 2 of the children and couple of grandchildren, but then I'm immediately going to Sarasota so they can celebrate Mother's Day again.
That's awesome. Well, good for you, KT. Enjoy your day on Sunday. You're such a special lady, and have a safe trip down to see your daughter down in Florida. And as my friend Gene says, God willing, we'll do it again next week. As always, amazing job. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Mine too. KT McFarland right there. And if you don't love her, you don't love Jesus. It's really that simple.
Thanks for listening to Sid and Friends in the Morning. You can hear Sid and Friends in the Morning weekday mornings at 6. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
I got into a Genesis. This is luxury. Whether it's a sleek G70 or the GV80 with that third row, these are high-end vehicles with payments that actually make sense. Go see Michael. Tell him Sid sent you. Genesis of Brooklyn. Find him at genesisofbrooklyn.com.